Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on August 29th, 2023 at approximately 4:20 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better life, a better world for virtually everybody. I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life, and the philosophies of life I talk about are the precise philosophies I personally guide my own life by. So, with that in mind, this is not a question of it's a possibility these can work. This is more to the point, a likelihood they will work if you personally do the work. I can tell you how it works. I cannot make it happen. Not for you. For me, I certainly can. Now, before I go any further, let's get started. We have Semper Fi there, Black Dragon. Welcome aboard. You've come in with the gold today. And Emmy, you have come in with the silver. Followed right behind, we have Philip with the bronze. And now, I figured, what the heck? We've got everything moving. Time to make things happen. Time to really get a handle on how to come to believe in yourself. Now, it was commented in my comments there a little bit ago that I was self-promoting. Well, I'll tell you, every single person that is ever successful at anything is self-promoting. Now, there's a big difference between being self-promoting and being egotistical or egocentric. Okay, in my opinion, it boils down to this. I know the tools that I utilize work. I am not good with technology yet. I am starting looking into the idea of going back to university, going back to online university, whatever, something to get a handle on how to make computers work for me properly. Way overdue time. I'm 60 years old now. And heading on I'm not even on the home stretch yet. If things go the way I desire, I haven't even hit the peak of my life yet. In other words, I'm personally aiming in a reasonably healthy body. This reasonably healthy body, I'm looking at hitting 137. Now, for that to happen, I will be, well, I'll be 68 and a half. So we're looking 8 years down the road before I even get to the peak. With this in mind, my health is now in better shape than it was 30 years ago. And this is where we start. Okay, not my life, not my health, but yours. Okay, now the real key factor, I was going to say, yeah, we'll do it that way. We start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. Now, in case you're not familiar with that, if I recall correctly, I first heard that in a musical starring Julie Andrews. Well, in all fairness, I actually watched it live. What do we got here? Phil goes, I was just watching a teacher of ancient Greek and Latin who was run out of academia because they didn't like what he was translating into English about their psychedelic rituals. Phenomenal. Well, here's the thing. Okay, I was told a long time ago the best way to really get ahead in the world is to start a religion. Well, here's the reality of it. Mainstream religion and mainstream politics and what have you, including the scientific community, which in my opinion, by the way, and this could go over like a lead balloon, science in its own way, in its own right, is a religion of sorts. Okay. With that, now what do we got here? Angels are life. Welcome aboard. Glad you could join us. And we also have Shadow and Sun showing up. Now, where did we go? We opened this. Oh, I did not. Well, I opened it, but I didn't leave it there. Move that out of the way. Over to that monitor. Talk about getting myself sidetracked in a hurry. Now, what do we got? We have, I just want to make sure I did this right. Black Dragon, Emmy, Philip, and Angels, you are in with honorable mention. And with that in mind, where did you go? There we are. This is the link to Angel's live stream. So absolutely drop in on her, give her a listen. If you like what she has to say, absolutely give her a thumbs up and share the daylights out of it. Okay. And then we have Shadow and Sun. And Shadow and Sun is right here. So we go copy that. Whoop. Should hit enter there. And then we have Shadow and Sun here. And again, there's the link to his live stream. So drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, come right out and, do give him a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of it. By us sharing this information with other people, with the rest of the world, we can take the support that I see in this chat room and spread it all over the world. Okay. And this is what has to happen. Now, the reality of it, where I was going with that, Philip, originally, was, the way it's set up, starting a new religion or getting people started on a new religion doesn't work. Okay, the way the world is set up right now, basically, if you're not mainstream, you're not getting into it. Okay. Now, what do we have here? Oh, definitely. The funny part about it there, Philip, is when you look at people that argue when you question, okay, that they start defending themselves because you ask a question. You have they have a problem, not you. And this is why I say, absolutely come right out and ask. If you've got a question of how I come by my information, or you've got information that says, no, what you're telling people is mistaken. If it is functionally accurate, if somebody can give me a reason why that doesn't work, okay, I'll absolutely shift gears. Okay, as I did with the Church of Satan years ago when I found out some neat little pieces there. Okay, Joe, how you doing? Glad you could join us. I trust your day's been going well. Now, when we take a look at this, first rule of thumb, take a look in the mirror. Okay, are you content with you? This is the first thing you've got to do. And this is why I say, this is why I keep going back to this idea of a list. You desire to learn how to believe in yourself. That's the easy part. Now, most people talk about oversleeping. Actually, most people talk about requiring 8 hours of sleep. Now, I do not expect anybody to take on the sleeping pattern I've got. This is absolutely a bizarre idea. What is today? Today is the 29th. I did not fill that out. This is a bad thing. Oh, wait a minute. I wrote it down. Now I just got to find it. There we are. Went to bed at 2, got up at 4:30. This is good. Where are we here? Good, I did write it down. I thought I had. But with that in mind, take that and get it eliminated. Now, here's the thing. I do not expect anybody, I do not expect anybody to match the sleeping pattern I've got, because let's face it, that's a bad idea. But you desire to start turning your life around. Here's the thing. Pick a time to get up in the morning. Now, the most successful people I've come across around the world are getting out of bed by between 5 and 6 in the morning, local time. So, you desire to get your life turned around. Here's the easiest way to do it. Now, there's a couple of things to point out. Okay. This particular book, okay, that's the backbone of how I did it. But here it is in a nutshell. Make sure you set your alarm to get up between 5 and 6 in the morning, preferably. But set the time for when you will. The key is pick a time that you're going to get out of bed. Okay, and this is assuming you're not suffering from something that debilitates you from doing so. Okay, pick a time to get up, regardless of when you go to bed. Okay, in my case, I've set it now to 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, I'm usually up way before that. Okay, but you get up at the same time. As soon as your eyes focus enough that you can actually walk, get out of bed. Go and do what you have to in the washroom. Come back, get dressed, get your bed made, get the floor cleared. Now, I know this sounds like real tedious, annoying things, but I'm telling you, it sets the stage for success. Okay. Now, what this does is, first and foremost, it breaks that little issue of overcoming the biggest obstacle that you'll face in your life, your own stubborn disposition. That's the first thing. Okay, and that's just simply by getting out of bed. Second issue, okay, is it gets that more, from what I've gathered from everybody, myself included, it gets that most annoying task of the day out of the way, making the bed. Now, it may not seem like much. Okay, making your bed may not seem like that big of a deal. But I will tell you this. Okay, when we're talking about making the bed, what it is you're getting the energy ready to go. And again, some people get up, you'll get out of bed, you won't bother getting dressed. Well, and I'm telling you, this is the way to do it, the way that I found works best. There's other ways. But by getting dressed for the day in the morning, okay, you set your mind in the idea of productivity, of success, of believing in yourself. Because what you're doing is you're going, I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to get my day started. And before you even leave the bedroom, you've got yourself already, you've already overcome your own stubborn streak. You've already got 2 or 3 tasks out of the way. Now, let us not forget. Write the task down. I realize you can't see that, but that's okay. It's written in pencil. Write, put 3 tasks. As a matter of fact, if you haven't done so already, okay, literally follow my lead on this one, if you will. Okay. And that is, if you don't have it, if you've got a sheet of paper with you, great. Because I will tell you, lists work like a charm. By getting them done, you get them cleared off, okay, and you start seeing that you can be productive and you've got quantifiable proof of it. Okay, so right now I've got stuff that I can only go so far. I've got to go down to, I can't do anything about it right now, but I will be going down tomorrow during the day to Community Futures to talk to them directly. Because there's only so much I can do at this point. The finances, I cannot tell them. I don't have the tools to do it, and I certainly can't figure out the computer to help. So, that's one of the things I'm doing then. But, now if I look around my office right now, put this back where it belongs. Because it's frankly in the wrong place. So, now we take a look at things. You get that list set up. Okay, because what that list is going to do is it's going to break everything down so you can start going, here's a goal that I aimed at. Here is a project I decided I was going to do for me. And by marking it down, you're drawing that energy out of the upper levels into the physical plane where it can be made manifest. Now, as you can see, I've got 2 file folders, and some of these will end up going. This one, wonder if I've got that. I go way to the back here, grab that. I take this stuff because I can't do much more with that for the moment. So I'm just going to get it out of the way because the first thing I've got to get done is this bed has to be cleared completely. And yes, like I said, we're going to walk through this together to make sure that certain this all happens in a functional fashion for you. Those are in there. They can go out tomorrow when I head out. Okay. So the first thing, I may have this done before the end of this stream. I appreciate that, Black Dragon. I keep forgetting that. I literally tell people, okay, go and take a look at these sites. And I do agree with that there, Black. I keep forgetting about me. Okay. That being, or more to the point, this stream. Because I'll tell you, you're not just hitting that like button doesn't just mean you're following me. It means you're also supporting the other people in this room. And I'm telling you, I haven't seen many rooms where you see this kind of support. It was funny a few months back. I watched somebody come in here and the first words out of their mouth was, talk about a room full of trolls. Well, just about every one of you jumped on the guy to the point he left before I had a chance to say anything, which I don't mind. Okay, so what I'm doing here, the first thing I've got to get done here is clear the master bed. So that's the first on the list I've got to get done. My office itself, the office desk is already sorted out. That stays there where I need it, the phone, and I hope that's not dying. Well, it will sooner or later. Uh-oh. Somebody phoned me and I don't know who. Oh, bonus. I will have to talk to them afterwards. I think they'll be closed today, but anyway. If not, I'll go and get it. Otherwise, I'll go out tomorrow and get it. But a couple of last week sometime, I turned around and I went, I'm upgrading my food supply. In other words, I decided I was no longer going to settle for just hamburger, and I went to the butcher and said, "Look, can you get me a leg of elk? Leg of elk or leg of caribou? I didn't care what it was called. I just didn't want it to be just beef. I was figuring it was going to be a couple of months before they pulled it together, but all of a sudden they had it within 2 days. I'm like, bonus." And so I got a call and see. I didn't hear the phone go off, so what am I looking at here? Oh, literally 2 minutes ago, I was just busy, so I didn't hear it go off at all. And that's okay. In any event, whoa. No. That's wrong. I take a look at it this way. Okay. Pick what you're looking at, how you desire your life to shift gears. Because I will tell you, it's that belief in you and that action towards your goals that's going to make a difference. So the first thing I've got here is I've got to get that master bed of mine behind me cleared. Okay, that's number one. So you write down 3 things that you spot that you know have to be cleared up. Okay, and then we start working on them. If it's a big job that you're looking at, like let's say you take a look at your room and go, I gotta get this whole thing done. That's great, but I will tell you it will be frustrating in all likelihood. Okay, because if it's going to take you a couple hours, you're better off breaking goals down into 15 minutes to half an hour in length. This ensures you can get them cleared up pretty quickly. So from that standpoint, get them sorted out, and that will help immensely. What that goes under stamps. There we are. The neat part about it is this. The way to regain, the way to really gain power over your own life, to really learn to trust yourself, is give yourself a goal. And I mean yourself a goal. Yeah, you can take ideas from other people. Okay. How we doing, football? Glad you could join us. Go and take the hint from other people, but you've got to set the goal for you that you're going to do because you desire to accomplish it. This is why I'm talking about putting the list together. Now, this particular file I'm going to have to go through because did I actually mark this as anything? Oh, I know what I wanted to mark this one as. This is a little file. This has all my critical files in it. Okay. So, in the good-natured side of what we've been talking, what we went through recently with the fires and everything, everybody called it bug-out bag. Well, don't want that. I gotta get a felt pen here. Okay, yes, I've got to get this thing sorted out as well. But we go there. See, I'm going to make a file folder right now. Again, this is a question of getting a goal in place. In this case, it's a goal now to get a bug out file ready. So, I call this my bug out file. It goes into my filing cabinet, but it means if I've got to go, this paperwork, if I've got to bail out of here for whatever reason, I open the file folder, the file drawer, grab this one file, and the critical stuff is in my hand. I'll go through all this afterwards. Why did I do that? There. Now I've got bug out file. Now, for me, think of it this way. If you've been through an emergency situation where you've had to get out of the house in a hurry, having a bug out file that has all of your critical medical information, critical banking information, even if it isn't on the complete stuff, but the reference points in one file, you open the file drawer, grab that one file, and you're gone. You got everything with you. Okay. I have finally decided wholeheartedly that I'm going to make an appointment and close down the one account, or more to the point, modify it, which will free up a little more money for me in one sense. But on the other hand, what it's going to do is it's going to close down a safety deposit box. Because I'll tell you, people say, oh, you get a safety deposit box. The thing is virtually useless to me. So I'm going to go and buy a much more secure, fireproof box in the house. Nathan, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And where are we here? Nathan, we do that. And we copy that and we pop this in. And look at that. There we go. Now, this is the link to Nathan's show. Okay, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up. Then subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. And yes, I did see you come in there, Raven. Welcome aboard. I trust things are going well for you. Lord knows things are hectic as all get out, but it's time to get started changing everything. Now, this is the link to Raven's live stream. Okay. Again, drop in, give her a listen. If you like what she has to say, come right out, give her a thumbs up, do subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of the thing. Okay, the nice part about this is we're going to starting effective right this moment. We're going to start changing people's lives. I'm doing it for me. You get the pleasure of doing it for you. Okay. And one of the things I do want to point out here, okay, it's a symbol that realistically I like. This funny little thing here. Okay, when you take a look at the back of my books, I've got this picture ghosted into the back of the self-help books. As you can tell, that particular lighthouse, aka a beacon for people to follow, okay, is something I personally own. So there is no way it can be called, it cannot be called, I cannot be sued for using somebody else's photo. It's my own. That's the piece of equipment that's photographed. Okay, now, I do bill myself as a spiritual guide. Am I a religious leader? Absolutely not. Not in my eyes, anyway. But am I a minister? Yeah, I actually contacted the Universal Life Church based out of California. But the reason I turned to them was because I am still very much a firm believer in God, firm believer in Christ, probably more so than most people. But what they basically said was the same thing I've been telling people all along. Call your higher power, call your whatever you want to call God, call it what you will, whatever name you choose. But be nice to people. That's ultimately what it boils down to. By focusing on being nice to each other, we can make phenomenal strides. And this room, I'll tell you, I keep watching for that kind of complication. And thus far, I'm quite happy to say all I've seen is people actually spreading word that, if somebody will come out and say, I've got a problem with this. And a lot of people are jumping in saying, here's how to do it. Now, I do believe my master bed is complete. Well, except for that. This is one of those funny little things that I work with. That's a time killer. Okay, but again, it's not just a question of looking for something. It's a question of putting my brain to use. And that's a challenge on occasion. But the master bed is now done, so let's make sure that the master floor is done. And you'll notice what I'm doing here is I'm putting something on the list, and then while we're talking about it, I'm going ahead and making it happen. And I will tell you, the big thing about getting rid of the clutter, you get the clutter out of the way, and you will have more energy to function with than what you're expecting. Where are we? By getting this sort of thing done, like I'm sitting here going, now what am I not accomplishing, or what requires accomplishing? And this is why I'm finding ways to really make things fit in place. Okay, this thing keeps causing me a problem. I put it right over there and I keep kicking the dang thing and hurting my feet. Not a good enjoyable thing. But what I've done here is said, okay, I've got to get my master floor done. The reality is, as you get goals cleared out of the way. Now, I'm going to put something out there that's going to sound a little screwy, okay? But think about who you see as your spiritual guide. Now, it doesn't matter to me whether we are talking about your spiritual guide being what you call God, what you call, Gaia, Mother Nature. Maybe it's just the guy at the front of the congregation that's standing there and telling you how to be a better person, or guiding you to it. Hopefully not by trying to scare the daylights out of you. Maybe it's your parents that you call your spiritual guide. Okay, whatever it is, whoever it is, take a look at them. Okay, and ask yourself one small detail. The person you're following, are they doing what they're talking about? Are they telling you, go and do this? Are they doing the same thing? And I do believe I missed somebody here. Go way back up. And I do believe I missed somebody coming in, which wouldn't be a shock. Nope. Thought I saw somebody come in, but apparently not. Oh, there we go. There we are. Caffeine, how you doing? Now, Caffeine, I gotta ask, are you referring to my personal preference? Okay, because personally, when I use the term people, I am referring to humans, any other species of intelligent life. And understand, for me, grass and trees, and I'm even talking just your standard plants. I'm not talking the racial like the arboreans. Okay, I'm referring to the plants, the animals. Like, I look at a normal everyday dog, normal household cat. They are fuzzy four-legged kids. These are all peoples to me. Okay, it's that simple for me. Now, Earthlings, quite honestly, is realistically one of the best ways of putting it there, Caffeine. Because let's face it, everybody on Earth is an Earthling. Okay, and everybody, if you're in a human body, now people's past life memories may well be more dominant than what your current life is. If you're in a human body, as in you look like you're human, okay, you gotta deal with the limitations of the human genome. When you're hungry, it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, you're going to require sustenance. If you're thirsty, yeah, but that's a state of mind there, Shadow. If you're thirsty, you're going to have to go and get something to drink. Believe me, you've got like 3 days before you're dead without water. But that applies to everybody. No matter who you turn around and worship or vote for or anything like that. Did I have... Well, that would make sense. We are working on the floor there, but we also have to clear that stool off. So I am talking about really getting a handle on yourself and where the energy is running in your life. For me, it works out really well. Okay. Real well, in as much as I'm looking at the world going, okay, I'm not content with a lot of things in my life, so I'm making them change. Tomorrow I'm jumping the gun on a few things, but for the moment, I am looking at making sure my floor here is out of the way. This neat little bag has to go up front. Because I will tell you, when I put my bug out bag together, this is all medication that I required. Medication, tea, that sort of thing. It can go up front the next time I go, which is why it goes on that door handle. So when I open the door handle, I know I gotta take it with me. Okay, so I'm looking at my floor right now, and the floor itself is actually in good shape. But it boils down to this. You desire to really figure out who you are. The reality of it is, caffeine, I agree wholeheartedly with you, but it's not can't take care of themselves. The people that are in positions of guidance, okay, have dropped the ball. And the people that are being guided have chosen to follow these people. Now, do not get me wrong. The situation is simple. The religious community evolved to explain the inexplicable until science figured it out. Okay, so this is not a question of people can't take care of themselves or can't take care of the planet. It's they've had virtually no guidance. And in all fairness, and I'll take responsibility for this one. Starting when I was just a wee lad, I started pushing people away from me. Okay, as is detailed in this funny little book, which no, this one is not in print yet. But this is a channel autobiography. Boy, was that ever a wake-up call for me. But what's happened is people have found all sorts of ways of going, oh, this is the difference that makes me different. I deserve special treatment. This is going to tick somebody off, but there is not a soul on this planet that I'm aware of that I feel deserves special treatment than anybody else. Now, there are things that you take into consideration. Okay. For those of you that are deaf. Okay. Number one, take that into consideration. Okay. If somebody is hard of hearing, it's not that they're not worth anything or they require special treatment, but you do have to honor the fact that if you don't talk to them properly, as in make sure they're looking at you, they're not going to hear you. Okay. Now, this is what I call true ignorance. And mankind has gone down a staggering road with true ignorance. Okay. Philip? Yeah, just, and every individual is special. Okay, every individual is unique. And I see where you're going with that in your shadow, and you set that up beautifully. I could go down a really bad road. Now, Philip, I will tell you this. What about pre-human or proto-human or paleo-human? In today's world, not recommended. However, I swear a lot. I do feel that many people still look at the world as though they are proto-human, meaning before Homo erectus evolved. And we're not going to worry about whether or not that was a creation thing or an evolutionary thing. But what we are going to look at is this. Okay, if you're not living your life to the best you can, then you're setting a bad example for other people. And that's just the reality behind it. Now, I dropped the ball big time when I pulled away under the concept that mankind would wake up and start treating each other decently. Turns out that's not a strong suit of theirs. Okay, however, does this make me better than anybody else? Not at all. I don't really require that, so that can go. I don't have. Well, that is disappointing. I'm looking around going, do I have a garbage can? And the answer is no, which is not good, but that's okay. I'll work with that afterward. And Philip goes, I'm a naked ape myself. Not completely naked. I'm a naked ape with clothes on. Yeah. And, the funny part is, when I wrote the Yldrbacian Chronicles, I found out I was shown a way to combine creationism and evolution under one comfortable banner. Okay. And this is the thing. This is why I say there is not a one of you that is more important than the next. Sorry to pop your bubble there, Shadow. I mean, let's face it. You're a game master a lot of the time. And yes, when I was first learning to play Dungeons and Dragons, we had two simple rules. You looked at the game master and went, that's God. Rule number two, if you have any question at all, including the books themselves, that's God. See rule number one. Now, obviously, at least I'm hoping the Shadow realizes he's not, that you realize you're not God, ultimately the God. But this doesn't mean you don't have the right to set your own world up. Okay? Belief in yourself is initiated by laying out goals for yourself and making them happen. Okay? And that simply boils down to getting it set up so that you can. So what do I got here? Oh, yes. I've got these down. The floor itself, I think, is just about complete here. Let's see, get this off the floor because I don't require it. And again, I'm looking at this going, I've got a whole pile of odds and ends. But to make the energy run properly, when you spot something out of kilter, change it. Alter the energy pattern so that it is actually working right. Yeah, I know, I'm not saying that a lot. There was a videographer I talked to once. And what he turned around and said was, you gotta sit still because people won't pay attention to what's going on. Well, people don't pay attention anyway. Not half the time. What is this? Oh. This here is a bunch of envelopes of mine. And, oh, well, that is not going to work. So what I do, show you something really neat. I got a whole bunch of envelopes now, just odd-shaped envelopes. But I got a number of these little things sitting on my bookshelf over here. So I can take these, stack them in it, put it back on the bookshelf, and then this funny little bin. You'll notice the bottom of it is coming apart. Okay, that is something I don't require anymore. So it goes into the recycling bin and be done with it. Now, this little item here, take that inventory control, it goes there. And what I've just done is I took that stool that I was looking at. What is this? Oh, that's a book I might end up finishing reading. I don't know. But I'll put it over here just in case. What do we got here? These are neat little books. Oh, I don't have that one there. That's okay. I don't require that one there. But this has to go. Oh, I know where to put that. Yes. See, this is the King James Version. And the thing with this, I told my father on his deathbed that I would finish reading this. So it can go to my bedside table and I'll get on it regularly effective tonight. Where are we here? Let me see. Phil, Shadow goes, I'm not God yet. I need a few thousand followers and go in a couple of guests before I can divine ascent. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways of looking at it. See, I know I can't be God because I had somebody I was talking to one day and they made it very clear they were God. Of course, I made it very clear I didn't care what they called themselves. I wasn't paying attention to them. And that gets me into trouble, by the way. But Philip's just going, if you sit still, people's minds will wander. That's why the newsreaders keep moving their heads the way they did, and they've been trained to. They call it a communications major. I call it boredom. Okay, and in case you haven't noticed, I don't sit still very well. I've been doing a lot of paperwork today just to get things moving in the right direction. Oh, what do I do here? There we are. Just to get things moving so that I can actually get this publishing company up and running. But I'm going to be looking into solving part of my problem by literally going and looking in the university and seeing about getting a student loan. Because if I get a decent student loan, okay, I can set it up so that I've already got the backup. Now, as far as I'm concerned, sitting still, there's one reason for sitting still, or one way that works. If you're on a radio, I'll tell you, get off it. They're uncomfortable to sit on. I've done that before. Really a painful experience. Okay. Now, what is this one? This particular one is... Okay, this is one of those books, one of these books above a box of books that I did get printed. But, ouch. There, pop that up there. And that solves that problem. Remember I mentioned there were things I had to get done here? Now, what have I got going on here? Take that in case I have another book. Move that sideways. And we take this little box of receipts. It doesn't quite fit. Of course not. Why would it do that? That works. There. And again, while I've been on this stream, okay, what have we got here? Yeah, Philip, like I'm looking at this. Nathan goes, Shadow and Sun, have people sign up online, you'll reach divinity in no time. Hail Shadow Master of all. Yeah. And don't get this the wrong way. Don't take this the wrong way, Shadow. But, I've had some pretty interesting conversations with people of much higher standing. Right. Matter of fact, I remember my first run-in with what you would call God. And the first time I did that, he looks at me and he goes, you don't belong here yet. I went, but the door was open. He goes, it was not open. It was closed. I said, it was open when I came through it. And this went back and forth for a little bit. And he finally looked at me and he goes, you opened the door. I said, of course I opened the door, but it was open when I came through it. At that point, our conversation took a whole different bend. Yeah, Raven goes, we all should know by now that God is a woman. God actually is not male, female, animal, vegetable. He's none of the above, and yet all of them. Okay, but I will tell you this. He did give you, I use the term he because I don't feel like going he, it, he, they, it, and, he, they, it, she, them. I just don't care about using all of it. And he is the shortest word that I can work with. Unless I go with, and let's go there, unless I go with, I am God. And no, it's possible I am Groot, but I'm certainly not God. Except for, I am God to the people in the Yldrbacian Chronicles because I'm the one building them. Okay, but Philip goes, whenever they create a real communications major for people, they're probably called an autistic studies major. Call it what you will. I like the way that William Shakespeare put it. He goes, a rose by any other name will smell as sweet. Well, a communications program by any other name will still be a communications program. Problem is, people make the mistake of going, if I'm speaking and you're not hearing exactly what I'm saying, that's your fault. And it really isn't. Okay. In over 100,000 clients, I came to the understanding that in no case is communication anything less than a 50-50 problem. Okay, in every single situation. Like even with my getting divorced. Okay, yeah, we had our problems, but it was not all hers. From my standpoint, it really boils down to this. Okay, I chose to be on this planet. God knows why. Actually, I know why. When I got here, the planet was only just being built. Okay, and because I made friends with the lass that was in with the planet itself, and I told her I'd stick around until through her life. Yes, I end up dying a number of times. I've spent a lot of lifetimes here, but I will be here until she dies, which could be another 5-10 billion years for all I know. But that's a drop in the bucket compared to the length of time my memories go back. Gee, I was thinking ice pick there, Shadow, but then I'm a little twisted. And the funny thing is, and I did find this out myself, Q-tips themselves, everybody says use them. I wonder if I've got one. I might even know where it is. Bingo. I'm going to show you something here, guys. Just because you brought up the idea of Q-tips, I used to use Q-tips, okay? I really did. And then I ended up with an ear infection. And what a Q-tip does is it tends to take that wax and pack it into your ear. But take a look at the tip on this one. That wouldn't be a shock. I don't let them out very often. I let them out when I go to have a shower because there ain't no way I'm having that kind of company. But take a look at the end on this thing. Now, this is what I end up using. And yeah, it looks very much like a drill. But I used to use Q-tips all the time. But what I found with it, and I found this out the hard way by getting an ear infection, and it jammed all the wax into the back of the ear. This thing works like an auger. Okay. But you'll notice that the tip on it is very flexible, meaning it won't damage the ear. This works so much better. And if you can find one of these online, don't ask me how I managed to do that. Okay, I forget what the heck it's called, if there is a name on it. Just checking to see if there's a name. Not that I can see. But this thing, I found this online. Okay, and it works like an auger. So when you're working with it, it pulls the stuff out much safer. Oh, always be careful. Okay, absolutely be careful. Let me see here. Phil's going, the drink they gave people in the original communion ceremonies was to commune with the goddess. The only way to make this psychedelic was in a woman's body. Trust me, there's a lot of other ways. Well, that's just it, Shadow. I've been screwing my entire life. As a matter of fact, it was only just about 2 weeks ago that I found my marbles again. But the nice part about it I don't know how you want to spell it. The thing is, when you're looking at believing in you, it boils down to taking a look at what's going on in your life that you've actually still got control over. And you've got free will. You have free will. You have freedom of choice. What you don't have is freedom of consequence. And this is why you take a look at it. Now, over there, I had a stool that was completely buried. Now the stool is clear, which means the three things that I'd already added to my list are now done. Now while I'm sitting here, I'll come up with a few others. But the important factor here is this. The way to gain faith in yourself, the way to gain belief in yourself, is to give yourself short-term goals and then make them happen. Oh, Philip, take a look in your junk boxes. In my case, it was boxes of stuff that boxes of keepsakes. Apparently that was important. Absolutely, Shadow. You have a great night. Thank you so much for dropping in. And again, guys, drop in, give him a listen. And if you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and then share the daylights out of it. I got to take a look here. Shadow and Sun. I do. Yeah, this is a bad song. Shadow, you're on for about an hour, aren't you? Or is it a little longer than that? In any event, I'll drop in and see if you're still on when I get done this stream. But the more you get accomplished that you set your mind to, the more you're going to learn to believe in yourself. To actually get ahead. But it really boils down to believing in you and what you see as the important part. And it really is a question of your effort because nobody else can make you a better you. A lot of people can point out, a lot of people can point out where they see a shortfall. Okay, and if you're only 5'2", 5'3", you're already a shortfall. This is why I like that one character that I run on Sundays. He's pure human. Okay. But when I rolled him up, he's a human that's only 3'6", with an 1892 strength. And for those of you that are gamers, that makes sense. But pick a goal. Doesn't matter what it is. It's time to start making it happen. So I'm going to pop those in there. Whole pile of things I'm changing around because I've essentially reached a point where I'm no longer content with things taking so long to get organized. But I'm the only one I can blame for it. Well, I can blame other people. The kicker to it is this. However you got to where you are, okay, wherever you are in life, however you got there, you're in control of it now. You cannot alter how you got there. You can't alter what's gone on before. But what you can do is change what's going to happen next. That's where your real power comes in. Okay. Now, one of the things I have found extremely necessary. Oh, there we go. Philip goes, one of the world's leading economists is 4'11". And the funny thing there is their height didn't make any difference. They didn't say, the fact that they're short hasn't done a thing to their ability to think. There was a song that came out a long time ago called Short People. And I will tell you, when you compare one person to the next, one of them is likely to be short. Okay. But the reality is that whether you're tall, short, fat, skinny, doesn't matter. Okay, what matters is whether or not, when you're taking a look at what you're talking about doing, you're following through with your word. If you say you're going to do something, get off your tail feathers and make it happen. Okay, this is why, well, the bug out envelope is already there. And what, pray tell, is that? Did not like that. Okay, that's definitely an indication of something. There's one thing I still have trouble with. I leave things sitting around too long, and I'm look at this. Okay, I just put my hand in a pile of quite frankly dust mite webbing, and this is a side effect. Doesn't work well for me, but it does mean that what I'm going to do is clear all of that out of the way. Because I don't know about you, but I do not like that feel. So I'm going to be eliminating that as soon as I get done this stream. That is first on the list. I won't do it while I'm on air here. I didn't realize caffeine would have that kind of an effect on you. If I'm using my right hand, I write right to left or left to right. If I use my left hand, I write a lot slower right now, but right to left. But no, in all fairness, Philip, depending on what I'm writing, I will start with a storyline, like where is over there. Okay. Where is this? I start off, I am still very much a dinosaur. Okay. So what I start with is a blank sheet of paper, or in this case, I've got some storyline that's already been typed out. Okay, but here's what happens. I write it in hand first. Then I put it to soft copy. Okay, get the framework down. And once I've got it to soft copy like this. Well, hard copy like this. Okay, then I go back through it and you'll see there's a little bit of changes happening. As I'm going along, I start adding to it with handwritten. Then I will go back to the computer and copy this handwritten stuff into the computer, edit it, and see what happens. Okay, but I start where, I start at one location and then see where the storyline goes. Now, it depends on what genre you're working. Oh, okay. Would you believe me if I said really poorly? When my hand shakes that bad, I can't even pick up a cup of coffee. But fortunately, that particular issue is a very short-term one, and I managed to bring it down. But no, it's a royal pain in the neck on occasion. What I am teaching myself to do now, but I've got to do with pencil to start with, is I'm getting my left hand back to the point where I can write with it. Because the way I figure it is this. Pop that back where it belongs. The way I look at it is this. If I let the fact that I've got the shakes on occasion create a problem, I mean, my handwriting is appalling anyway. Okay, but I literally I concentrate to slow it down so I can maintain a semblance of legible reading or legible writing. I mean, realistically, if I want to be a doctor, that would work great. Because let's face it, I swear half the doctors, what they do is they go, there, I'm done. Or, they go back to the old idea, let's draw a straight line, put a gash through it. That's my signature. I don't know how that ever worked. But the thing you've got to look at is this. If you're not content with the way your world is working right now, absolutely start making it happen. Because I've done everything I can with the paperwork for Friday, because I can't do anything about the finance. I just don't know how to deal with it, and I can't get the thing loaded to email it. Fortunately, I know where they are, so I will go down in person, which they may not like, but let's face it, I'm a dinosaur. Okay, so I'm doing it my way, and they'll work around it. I hope. Either that, or they'll tell me they're not going to help me, and then I'm just back to square one, doing it my way anyway. I know when I was growing up, when I was just a wee little lad, my dad came up with a brilliant idea. If one of us was way too wired, he'd give us at 5 years old, he'd give us a tablespoon of coffee, and it would knock us right out. In today's world, I'd have to drink like 70 cups of coffee, and that doesn't knock me out, but it will make me go to the washroom at some point. Most of the time, I know from talking to the pharmacists that I know, you know, they really don't pay that much attention to it. You know, Black's going, I used to drink 12 Monster energy drinks a night in 1 hour. Only cut down to 4 a day because it was too expensive. Well, I will tell you, the neat thing with Monster drinks, or with any of those so-called energy drinks for me, they're fabulous. I grab an energy drink, I down one energy drink. 5 minutes later, I'm dead to the world. They work like an absolute brilliant sleeping pill. 1 an hour is a good thing. It's so much better than 12 an hour. Because then I knew people that used to drink alcohol like at a case an hour. But no, for me, the energy drinks, all they do is shut my system down to the point I just pass out. So that doesn't work for me. I'll buy the energy drinks for my kid because he likes them. But I'm a firm believer he's likely drinking too many of them anyway. I was just wondering if I had remembered to bring a drink. Because I will tell you, temperature is a pain in the neck on occasion. But again, you take a look and you set a goal for yourself. That goal, you break it down into 15-minute to half-hour tasks where possible. And by doing that, as you check them off, you can really make certain that you're feeling like you're getting things done. Okay, what do we got here? Gotta do that. Can't do that because I just don't know how. I don't have the numbers, and therefore I've done everything else I can. So I'm good. This means tomorrow, the goal that I had to have done by Friday, I've got done as far as I can do. So I'm going to go in tomorrow and see what I can get done from them. Okay, but when you pick a goal for yourself, you check it off, and here's the big thing about it. Okay, take a look at this. I don't expect you to read it, primarily because it's my handwriting. Okay, but you'll notice I've got a bunch of things that are checked off. Well, as I get down this list, as the list grows, I've still got 3 here that are still on the list. I've got track the transcriptions I've done. Oh, I did that earlier. So I can check that one off. The financial report for community futures, I don't have the ability to make the estimations on it. I wonder. That was terrible. Let's see here. Pop that open. I require that. Just checking that out. In case you're wondering, trying to type with one hand that doesn't work right is a pain in the neck. Oh, okay. The answer to the question there, Philip. No, wait a minute. Hang on. Move that over here where I can actually see the other part. Take that, and then we take this, and we go shrink that, minimize that, and where the heck did it go? Oh, you idiot. Put that back over there. There we go. Now, Philip, what they call that, and what I typed in was what is the term for people where prescription drugs work opposite to their intended purpose. They literally call it a paradoxical effect. Okay. So what that boils down to is the medication is supposed to do one thing and it doesn't, right? Yeah, thank you, Nathan. You were doing the same thing I was. My whole life is built on paradoxes. I'm still trying to figure out how I can manage in a period of one day getting my feet in my mouth so often, and yet I still haven't become more flexible, nor have I lost the weight that I desire to drop. And to think, Nathan, it used to be if I typed anything into the computer, it would come up with something totally different. A paradox is just a couple of doxes. I'm still trying to figure out what a dox is, but, I know what a pair of them is. Paradox is just something that doesn't behave. It creates a conundrum. Okay, especially if we look at that in this fashion. Here we go. Here we go. Paradox definition. A seemingly absurd or self-contradictory statement or proposition that, when investigated or explained, may prove to be well-founded or true. Okay, paradox doesn't mean it's false. Although there are oxymorons which are false. Because you do realize what an oxymoron really is. That's that ox that wanders around in the field with his tongue hanging out and just kind of bumping into everything he comes around. But yes, I know that was derogatory. Very insulting to morons. But, you take a look at things. If you're not content with where your life is, the way to gain trust in you, to gain belief in yourself, is set a goal, mark down what the goal is, and get it accomplished. The fact you're getting it accomplished is what will bring that faith back to you. Okay. This is one of the big things that we take a look at. There we are. Now, you guys have a goal. I'm certain every single one of you has a goal that you would like to accomplish, that you would like to complete. Myself, Lord knows I got a lot of them. So we get that one done as soon as I'm done there. Can't do that. That's okay. That's all set to go. So we do this. We go pack for community futures. That just say all this means is I'm going to go over here, double check, make sure that I've got the file in here that I require, which I do. It's there. While it's there, oh, a couple of things don't need to be there. But that bag is set to go. Again, it was a simple goal, very short term, very short duration to complete. Okay, but that's the way to get it to happen. Now, I'm very tempted on occasion to go down the road that was done so long ago, and let's lay out a story on how people can change things. And I'm going to have to go down that road. I wasn't thinking of doing it originally, but it's time to really get focused on starting to make a direct impact on the world around us. We know that the people that are in positions of power are not utilizing that impact properly. So what say we take our own drive? Now, Nathan, you've got the quantum show and you open some really intriguing doors. And yeah, there's always problem children somewhere. Yeah, but here's the sad part. In today's world, people get upset if you tell somebody that they're retarded. Okay, to me, retarded means slow. I mean, let's face it. I would have loved for the fires that came up around here to have been a little more retarded. Because I'll tell you, the damage in the air quality really went problem. But Nathan, you've got some phenomenal topics you opened the door on. Okay. And this is one of the reasons why I take a look at your channel and go, absolutely drop in and listen. Okay, because Nathan does turn around and gets people thinking, but what if? What if this did work? A bigger concern may be something a little bit more prevalent, such as what if it doesn't? Black Dragon's going, my only goal is to wake up every day. If I don't meet that goal, then I'll start to worry. Yeah, I'll tell you, you get used to it. I had a girlfriend at one point a few years back. Well, actually, a decade ago. And she literally, we were talking about the fact my heart spontaneously stops. Okay. And, she finally looked at me and she goes, so what you're telling me is if we're walking through the mall and you have a heart attack and fall down on the ground, I just ward the EMTs off and say, just hang on, he's just taking a nap, he'll be right back. Because you just get used to it after a while. Philip says they should make some sort of fire retardant for slowing fires. They already did. Yeah. Nathan's just going, somehow I know there is more than just the surface and reaction to things. There absolutely is. But as you and I have discussed, that nearly came out wrong. As you and I have discussed, Nathan, I don't have the tolerance anymore. And I could probably develop it, but I don't see the point. Okay. Of tolerating the level of stupidity that I see in some cases. And I will tolerate it in other people's rooms. I'll just sit there and bite my tongue because it's not my stream. And remember, you must honor the laws of the land in which you are. When you're in Nathan's room, and when you're in his stream, and I'm a very firm believer of this myself. When you're in the stream, you follow the rules of Nathan's stream. Now I've just come to the conclusion that striving to get people to think isn't going to work as well as I would have liked. Of course, I shut down for 40 years, trying to hide from the world. And I, by the way, was really successful at it. Okay. On the hopes, bad idea, that mankind would wake up and start treating each other decently. The reality is that mankind has not been taught how to treat each other properly. Okay, you've been taught, humans are teaching their kids. Okay, they're raising adults to be self-centered, short-sighted, greedy, and very, very destructive. Okay, this is the wrong message to send. In my opinion, anyway. Yeah, and that's just it, Nathan. You know, the unexpected sometimes is phenomenally beneficial. I mean, you take a look at it. If I remember correctly, in the original movie, the Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know, the Raiders of the Lost Ark, when Indiana is facing that great big bruiser with the Saracen sword, right? The guy come at him with the great big two-handed curved blade, and he's swinging it all over the place, and then Indiana shoots him. The problem there was originally, and I don't know what was supposed to have been said, but originally Indiana was supposed to say something. The reality was he forgot his lines. So he turns around and pulled out the gun and shot the guy. Well, the other actor was so quick at picking it up that the director decided to run with it. This was an unexpected event. Okay, so they left it in there. And there's a lot of things that happen that way. Where are we here? Look up on Dietrich Bonhoeffer had copy and paste the spelling said about stupid. He was executed by the World War II Germans. Before this, he began a scientific study of stupid. Well, as I've come to understand, you can't fix stupid, but the Darwin Awards do explain how it takes care of itself. You know, I consider people truly ignorant if you're doing something without actually, for whatever reason, you don't get where it's a problem. If you're doing it, that's true ignorance. Once you know it's a bad move, it's stupidity. Okay. And as I've told people, I have no sympathy for self-inflicted wounds. And I'm referring to the stupid ones. Okay. Joe's going, some of the girls I befriended in my youth, and they were beautiful. I always wonder from time to time what their lives are like now. I do that a lot. I've lost contact with a lot of people. And yeah, the thought does cross my mind. What are they up to? Okay. But I will tell you, the other thing I find is almost a cross correlation. Yo, what we got? Oh, Philip's just going on about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He wanted to understand how the people in his country became so stupid and explains why stupid is more dangerous than evil. Well, yeah, and it is. Evil, you know what you're doing. Now, it can be more deadly and much further reaching, but stupid is contagious. Okay, I'm sure of it. Evil isn't really. And the reality of it is, take a look at evil. Okay? If you take evil, EVIL, and you flip it around, the opposite of evil is live. Okay? In other words, when you're choosing to be evil, okay, you're choosing essentially not to live and experience the rest of the world. What do we got? Nathan's going, I know someone that loves their portable drinking bottles with lids, but leaves them for days on end with lids on unwashed. She gets what she gets when she goes to use it again. Pretty much. You know, I mean, you guys have seen me use this one, and I keep it handy. Now, I will tell you, I can put ice in this, and it will, water with it, and the ice will stay solid. If I close it, will stay solid and cold for 3 or 4 days. But every time I empty it out, right, I end up rinsing it out right away. But once a night, I end up washing the thing. The reason being, I don't like the idea of what may be crawling in it or what might be growing in it. But you've got a choice. Okay, the way to gain trust in you, to believe in your capabilities. Take the difficult things that you're having trouble with and learn to and teach yourself how to do them. Okay, make certain you turn around and start getting them dealt with. Now I got all the paperwork I required out of the way. Okay, now I did just finish that one. So I take that. I won't be dealing with the dust mites until after I get off the stream here. You know, the other thing, like I know people, and it's just a terrible thing. I remember down at the park, down at the place here is called Bentley Park. It's across the road from where I am. But I was down there with a bunch of kids. I walked in there. There were 20, 30 kids sitting around the garbage can. And the place was the ground was just covered in garbage. My comment to them was, well done, guys. You're going to make perfect adults. And one of the kids looks at me and goes, oh, thanks for the compliment. I said, it wasn't one. I said, you're sitting 10 feet from the garbage can, and yet you guys have garbage all over the ground. Now, to me, this is absolutely stupid. One person dropping a piece of garbage on the ground doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't make a lot of difference. Put 100,000 pieces of garbage on the ground, see how well that works. What we got? Yeah. Philip's just going, Nathan, is there enough hard alcohol in those containers to kill off bacteria? Oh, heavens, if she's using them for beer, this is just a bad idea from the get-go. Mine that thing I use for water, but that's because I require the hydration. Yeah, there's an idea. Let's put sugar and hops into a bottle and leave it sit for a few days. And at room temperature, I might add. Now, I will tell you, when I was younger, I took a gallon jar of cherries, right, and made sure they were completely pitted. Put all the cherries into a jar, filled it right to the top of the jar with BCL brandy, and left it sit at room temperature for 3 months. Okay, then we went and ate the cherries, and that was a little bit different. Yeah. I've had food poisoning before myself. I do not like food poisoning. I've had alcohol poisoning twice. That was enough. Food poisoning, I think I've had maybe half a dozen times. Tell you the one that I figured out the hard way, it was decades back now. Yeah, it would be decades back now. I bought a roast chicken, but the hotel I was staying at didn't have a fridge. It was a cooked roast chicken. So I ate most of it, left the rest of it sitting until the morning. This was a categorical bad idea because I ate it and it barely hit the bottom of my stomach and came straight back out. Fortunately, that was the end of it. Never again. If we've got chicken left out for whatever reason, you pick it up, it accidentally falls into the garbage. But whatever your goal is, the more goals that you set for yourself and you accomplish, the happier you're going to be, because you're going to get things completed. And then you'll learn to trust your own self. You'll learn to believe in your own capability of getting things accomplished. Now, where am I here? And I will put to you, this is just that, off on a thought tangent. If you like the stream, do me a favor, give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of it. It's time to start getting people to get up and make the life change. Okay? And I will put it this way. If you are going to church, Okay, and your one, and the priest, the pastor, the rabbi, doesn't matter. The minister, I don't care what they're called. Okay, if they're telling you this is the way you should live your life, absolutely be certain that they are living their life the same way. So it's not just a question of do as I say, but do as I do. A true, effective spiritual guide will be living their life the same way they tell you. This is why I say when I talk about putting a list together, okay, you see I write this stuff down and then go and check it off. I just got to take a look at this because, well, my brain's going a mile a minute. See, here's the neat thing. Don't ask me why I went and got this. That's that deck of tarot cards I was showing you the other day. Okay, but now I know exactly where it is because I tracked it down and now I'm putting it back in the same place. There's a real, what do we got here? Yeah, and Philip, I go out of my way, like when I'm going by the park, and I see somebody cutting the lawn for the park, or I see somebody working in the yard of a apartment building, I will go out of my way to say thanks very much for your help. People think about thanking the military for their service. And don't get me wrong, I do that as much as I can. I just don't see a lot of military people around where I live. But I'm a firm believer that they certainly deserve thanks, but so do the first responders. So does the housewife that is out there doing the yard work. I ran into a young lass the other day, and she was out there. She wasn't employed by the apartment, but their groundskeeper was ill, and she asked the apartment manager if it was okay if she turned around. If it was okay if she turned around and did the yard work. Well, I'm watching her do the yard work, and she fell down. Well, my first instinct was ask her if she needed a hand. She told me flat out because I'd already just found out she had both hips replaced. And here she was out doing yard work. So I asked if she required help, and she said, no, just give me a few minutes. So I waited there. I didn't even carry on with my walk until she was back upright and sitting down. And I talked with her for a little while to make sure she was okay. But to me, this is just a decent thing to do. That's all it boils down to. Okay, Philip's gone. In certain parts of Europe, if you walk by a piece of garbage without picking it up, a nice old lady noticed you walk by the garbage, she'll probably glare at you thinking you're a jerk. The reality is, if everybody actually picked up one piece of garbage, or how about this? Don't put the garbage on the ground in the first place. This world would be a much nicer looking place. Okay, see, right now we've got a neat little situation. This fire broke out, and of course, the dump is completely on fire. But I get a kick. I love some of the signs that are out there. The biggest warning on the bottom of the sign at the dump used to be, do not drop off burning refuse. Now, of course, in my case, I'm looking at this sign when I went out to the dump one day going, okay, my understanding is I'm driving into a methane gas plant, and it's an uncontrolled methane gas plant. So why would I take a burning pile of fire? Why am I driving down the road with my garbage on fire anyway? And then why drive into a methane gas plant? I don't know about you, but to me this seems somewhat suicidal. But you put a goal down to make certain that you get things done. Now, I've got that one there. I've got one. That's all packed to go. So I've done what I can there, which is good. What is this? This is what chapter? I think this is chapter 22. Yeah. So I'm just marking off another goal that I've got to get done, that I'll get done tonight to ensure I get these things wrapped up. And it really boils down to this. I get these on the list and I check them off. And all of a sudden, I've got a list a mile long of what I managed to get accomplished. Now, today, since I started, I've got one. Oh, did I? I did not. Okay. Both of those were done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've already got 10 things, and some of these things took a lot longer to do. But I've already got 10 things done. Okay. And the more you get done, the more you'll come to realize you too can accomplish a whole pile. But like I said at the beginning, pick a time starting tomorrow morning. Pick a time. Pick a time to get up. Don't worry about when you're going to bed. Go to bed when you're ready, but pick the same time to get up daily. If you have to get a nap afterwards, so be it. But you'll work yourself into a decent pattern. Myself, I'm looking at it going, 3 hours of sleep is not enough for me. It really isn't. So I figure that as long as I'm getting at least 4 hours of sleep, I'm good. Okay. As a matter of fact, if I get more than 6, I'm pretty much hooped for the day anyway. Yeah, Nathan's going, I do things to boost my personal morale sometimes. Small victories help. Absolutely. Like I'm looking at this and I'm starting to overheat. Of course, I'm starting to overheat here, and I got a fan right here that's not on and not pointing at me. Brilliant idea coming up with this little thing. So now we turn that on, and now I can actually bring my temperature down without overheating and crippling myself in a way. See, the one thing I have found, regardless how much money you've got, if you're not content with the way your life is, you're going to end up spending, in all likelihood, more money trying to convince yourself you're happy than you will actually being happy at all. Okay, now this is based on well over 100,000 clients under my belt. Okay, bear in mind I've been doing this work for a very long time. Now, where did I put that one item? Oh, put it right there. Like I said, this boils down to making certain that I get everything done in a methodical fashion. Okay. See, by getting these little goals, everything will eventually get accomplished. What have we got? Did I miss something here? Probably. Yeah, kind of like a mud bog there, eh, Raven? Sucks and holds the button down. What do we got here? Whoop, did not want that to happen. Yo, what do we got here? I did not see. Now, obviously, the ferret came in here. Some ferret, I did not see you come in. My apologies. My condolences. Yeah, I don't think that works quite well. But, this is why I watch. Other people will say, hey, ferret, glad you made it. This way, I all of a sudden spot the issue. Because the Lord knows I'm slower than molasses in January on occasion. Yeah, we actually had a ferret show up on a doorstep one day. That was priceless. Little guy was friendly as all get out. What we got? One, two. No, that was done. One, two. Need something else and require something else there. But see, here's the thing. You guys are a phenomenal source of encouragement from my standpoint. And this is one of the reasons why I do my best to encourage you guys. I hope so. It was neat. Outside I'm on the ground floor, and my balcony is literally set into the ground. Well, it's not balcony. I don't know what you call it, patio or a pit. But you step out my front door, onto a lower section there. It's technically a patio, but it's below ground level. So I end up with all kinds of animals at my doorstep. I've got to keep my screen closed to stop the birds from flying in. Duck showed up as a glass. Yeah. I've had what used to be a domestic rat, a ferret, all kinds of quail, finches, sparrows. I haven't seen any swallow show up here. Right. Once in a while, I'll get a mallard duck. Okay. And in one case, for a couple of days in a row, of course, you get the occasional cat show up and raccoons. And I'm right smack in the middle of the city, really. I am not up near the orchards. So you wouldn't think you'd get that much. The ferret that showed up was just a standard brown one. The rat was a hooded rat. But the ferret was just a little brown one, and only about that long. So I'm guessing it got out somehow. Philip, a brainworm is something, it's actually a real worm, but what it does is it actually enters the body. Usually it happens to people that are out in the woods, but it'll get into the ear and then dig its way inside the brain. This is why they call it a brainworm. And that kind of an infection will, in all likelihood, kill you. Okay. So, no. Unlike a tapeworm, which won't kill you, but it will mean you'll starve to death. Okay. A brainworm you can't operate on. Ultimately, that's what you're talking about. And yes, sometimes there is a species that starts off as microscopic and grows into that. But it doesn't get any big, it's just about the size of a grub at full size. But by then, the brain's already been damaged beyond repair. Apparently waited too long for the temperature to put the cooler on. No, it's extremely unpleasant, in my opinion. Because I will tell you, get a brainworm in, not only does it eat your brain, but you get to feel it doing it. Okay, not a fun way to die. But it is an effective way to die because you really don't come back. And as for it being a random question, well, Philip, around here, random is just plain normal. Let's see, I don't require, I know I've got that. I love people who send me emails like this. How are you doing? Have you received your giveaway cash prize from me yet? I love people who tell me, you're supposed to get this thing. I don't get them, right? Or have you applied to the government because they're giving away all this money? Well, I can tell you what I think of that particular pageant, Mom. But we'll keep it polite and just go, I'm not impressed. Okay, Nikki. Okay, Nikki, there's a real simple way. Now, I've mentioned this to you before. It works like a hot dang. keep around you at all times. You surround yourself with that bubble of white light. That will protect you from the negative ambient energy, just simply because you're on the planet. Okay, surround that bubble with mirrors facing away from you. That will reflect back any negative energy, including most of the low-grade energy weapons that you're referring to. No, it does not make you laser reflective. So if somebody's hitting you with a laser beam, sorry, the mirrors won't do much for you. Unless you've got a real one, and then it might be fun. Okay, what they forget to tell you and what you've been led to believe is that if you get hit, you're not going to be able to, you can't shake it off. It's permanent damage. No, it is not. Okay, but as I had to tell one chap, and it pretty much cost the friendship, a lot of people, especially as you're getting older, I keep getting people going, oh, I'm getting hit with energy weapons and I'm passing out at the wheel. Hate to tell you this, but that's age. I got one question for you there, football. The this is the first I've heard. That's coming in on the west side of the Florida Panhandle, isn't it? Okay, first and foremost, if you can tell me one little detail, do you know what category that hurricane is right now? I haven't been watching it, but I did come across it. What class is it at this point? Okay, the healing will repair the damage. There's no question there, Nikki. Now Joe's asking, what's a good movie or documentary about empathy? I don't know about empathy itself. I'll tell you, one of the best ones where it came to telepathy, okay, was go back to the 70s or the 80s, I don't know which. There was a series out called Scanners. Scanners 1, 2, and 3. They are phenomenal where it comes to showing you exactly how telepathy can work. Okay, it may be one of the better ones for empathy as well. As far as documentaries go, I have no idea. Okay, if it's right now at 2, it's coming in Florida. I'll take a look at it, but does it feel like it's likely to get to a 3? Probably not. But we might be able to bring it down to a Hurricane 1 or possibly a squall. But does it feel like it's likely to go to a 3? Honestly, not by the feel of it. But I haven't been watching it, so I can't give you a definitive on that end. Now, where it comes to, what do we got here? There we are. Yeah, where it comes to the whole energy weapon, just remember, as you bring your own energy levels up, your own faith in yourself, your own ability with your own energy weapons have less and less of an effect. As long as we are talking about the somewhat passive ones. When we start talking about sonic weapons, and we start talking about high-frequency laser weapons, sorry, all the belief in the world isn't going to do you a lot of good. Well, that could be an interesting place to go hang gliding. Probably not one of my better moves. I remember when we got hit by a tornado a while back. Let's see, it would have been 20 years ago now. I watched, I was working on the second floor, and a garbage can went by the window, and I looked at my boss. Everybody's running for cover. I looked at my boss and went, I'm off shift until I get back. And I ran out into the middle of the hurricane, of the tornado, to help people lock things down and get to safety. Of course, people were looking at me going like, are you nuts? Everybody's going for cover. I'm like, yeah, but I'll be fine. quite literally, football, and I do mean this quite literally, I will do what I can to. Now, the storm itself has to be there. Okay. Mother Nature does require it, but we can certainly focus and do what we can to avoid damage damage to the locals, including, by the way, the local animals and what have you, because most people, it's like, oh, look at the damage it's doing to the houses. It's terrible what it does to the houses, but think of the damage to the animals in their homes. So I mean, ultimately, this is something we can certainly work on. There's the other hurricane that I'm aware of that's over on the West Coast coming into California at this point. That's also got to be governed. But as people start to work more with each other, this atmospheric instability will stabilize. Yeah, I don't run. I don't usually run because, well, frankly, bad leg and all, not a good idea. Football, the answer is yes. A hurricane can bring sharks to land. But if it brings the sharks up on land, they're not going to be able to do a lot. I mean, that's the ultimate level of a land shark, and they're totally useless at that point. Okay, but it can absolutely bring them to land. By the way, it can also take people out into the deep water. And they're in pretty much the same boat. I just don't panic where it comes to natural disasters. But I do know it bothers a lot of people. Now, where am I? Oh, holy mackerel. What we're looking at here, and this is why I say, pick a goal and get it done. Now, right now, I got 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 things on my list right now, and that's good because, like I said, I get carried away on occasion and get too many things on my list at the same time. Right now, I've only got 3 left. And again, keep them at 15-minute to half-hour tasks. When you finish one off, check it off, add another to the list. Sad to say, I could relate to that for a little bit. Oh, Gailey, yes, I was talking to Dave last week. Dave is on for the first time in who knows how long. Dave is actually on a holiday for the week. This said, and apparently it didn't get out, this said, I will not be on Spaced Out Radio on the 1st. That has been postponed until the 8th. Okay, so he won't be here until next week sometime, but he finally took a day off. And I have no idea where he went. I only know he took the family and went and took off. He contacted me ahead of time to make sure that we could reschedule. Literally for the first time in 8.5 years, we've deliberately rescheduled it. Now, I have missed a couple of months. I wonder, I'd have to go back and check. Let me see here. That's January. No, that'd be back in 2018. But I've missed very few of the first Friday of the month. But yeah, Dave contacted me. We're not going to be doing the ET connection on the 1st. It'll be done the following Friday. But yeah, I talked to Dave just before he left. And he's doing fine. It was just for the first time, I think, ever, or almost. From what I gather, he finally decided he was taking a holiday and away he went. Oh, that's the easy part, football. Turkey. Okay, that's the most common one. My problem is I keep forgetting when Thanksgiving is. But thank you for reminding me, because I gotta drag that out of the. As a matter of fact, I should do that, but that'll get on my list afterward. It's wonderful from my standpoint. You know, I'm not good where it comes to cooking. Fortunately, I get along with my ex, and she does a fabulous turkey dinner. And now my son's moved home, and he knows how to cook properly as well. They call October 9th Turkey Day. Is that our Thanksgiving or yours? Yeah. Yeah, that's a funny thing. A meal from my standpoint boils down to this. You know, the funny part about Thanksgiving, it's Thanksgiving, let's all celebrate. I'll tell you the turkey is not having a good day. Oh, October 9th, okay. Glad one of us keeps track of it. You know, the sad part for me is it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. I'm thankful any day I wake up that I'm not pushing daisies. I'm ahead of the game. But, I actually still have a turkey in the freezer. But that's why I was just saying I'll do the one job, then drag the turkey out and thaw it out and we'll make turkey soup. But every time you get a goal done, and this is why you keep a list, is because at the end of the day, you can go, this is how much I've managed to accomplish. Now, today, what is today? I think today is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Yeah. So I'm supposed to have the paperwork for community futures done by the first, by noon on the first. I've got everything I can do done. So I'll go down tomorrow and drop it in their lap and go, I can't do the finances. And the computer and I are arguing anyway. But the way I figure it, I'm still a dinosaur. Well, I don't blame you there. For me, one of the things I look at there as far as birthday cake goes, I'm not much of a cake eater. Okay, but I do like my apple pie. What is it called? Not carrot cake. I do enjoy without the icing because the icing is way too sweet for me. It was funny. I was talking to a Jewish lady a while ago, and while I was talking to her, I explained to her why, because she said, "Oh, we don't celebrate Christmas." Yes, they do. Okay. Phil's just going, during the Great Depression, the United States federal government moved Thanksgiving up earlier, hoping to extend the holiday shopping season would help stimulate the economy in the Great Depression. The stupid part there is you want to stimulate the economy. There's a couple of simple things that can be done in any country. Any country. Bring the manufacturing home, put the people at home to work, and freeze wages and prices. Okay, your economy will stimulate in a heartbeat. Okay, but with society being trained on a greed-based front, it doesn't work well, and it will be a pain in the neck to bring it around. Yeah, cheesecake. I always find fair the cheesecake tastes a little gummy to me. But that's just my personal opinion. A lot of people like it, and they're more than welcome to it. And again, this is a funny thing about it. Okay, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to end up making the turkey soup here. But what I'll do is I'll do turkey soup up with rice. The reason for that is because every time you make turkey soup up with noodles, and you put it and you freeze it in the freezer, all of a sudden you got a mess. Of course, if you don't put the rice in, you cook the rice later, there's no problem. Or the noodles for that matter. Okay, if I recall correctly, Farron is on Vancouver Island. And if that's the case, she's definitely, there's definitely bears wandering around. But bears are wonderfully cunning. I find it was funny. I've watched. Can we try one thought at a time? What do you think? Yeah, no doubt there, Philip. Um, for the longest time, I didn't get to watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Honor Amongst Thieves. I can't tell you how many times I've asked and I've watched now. Um, no, how you doing, iVoices? Glad you could join us. Now, iVoice is going, Keith, do you remote view random people on a daily basis to get secret information about them, or do you only do it to people who tick you off? The answer is I don't. I remote view when it's required. More often than not, I will remote view when it comes to a natural disaster that I'm working on. This is going to sound really cold, but people don't interest me enough to worry about what they're up to in their day-to-day life. The people that require assistance will contact me, and I will do what I can at that point. But that is one of those things. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. If you have the ability to remote view, unless you like the idea of people looking in on you, don't look in on other people. Yeah, they're not necessarily crazy, just a little abnormal. Like there was a lady in town here, where are we here? Yeah, who was it now? Yeah, football is going in Texas. Crazy people have exotic animals like tigers. I'll tell you, there was a guy up here had a beautiful 80-gallon tropical tank, and you would have thought you would have thought it made sense. I had seen a lionfish. Yeah, he had lionfish. He had a couple of other really pricey fish. Okay, now a tropical tank you got to be real careful with. And then this brilliant genius went out and bought 2 more fish, also tropical. But you'd think he would have looked into it. He brings these 2 fish home, drops them into his tank, gets up in the morning, and all he's got left are the 2 new tropical fish, the skeletons of a few of the fish, and a lot of blood-soaked water. It was absolutely phenomenal. What the guy had done was he bought 2 piranha and threw them into a tank full of fish. Yeah, he threw piranha in with a lionfish. Not a wise move. Even the little shark that he had didn't survive. Like I said, brilliant. But there was a chap where I met the Black Panther was in the heart of Kelowna. Guy had a Black Panther, beautiful animal, somewhere close to a 300-pound monster. Right. Beautiful animal, and I'll tell you, talk about a deep-throated rumble. But if you're going to have an exotic animal, I'll tell you the one that if you're going to have an exotic animal, make certain that you remember it's a wild animal. It is not domesticated. People that own tigers know that. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Philip. Because I looked at the sign on the front door, and the front door, the sign said, "Forget the dog, the Black Panther ate it." And sprawled across the back of the couch was this, and it was full-size couch, so we're looking at a 7-8 foot stretch. Was this full-grown full-grown Black Panther? Now, I thought it was a stuffy. Okay, and I'm watching this thing, and all of a sudden it sits up. Well, the owner happened to be home, and he noticed me looking at it. He come out to the front door, and he goes, "Would you like to meet her?" And I went, "Absolutely." So he takes me into the house, right? And I got to sit there and pet this Black Panther. You know, and, from that standpoint, yes, they definitely purr just like a normal house cat, but with a much deeper voice and a much heavier vibratory rate. Now, the one thing that I will caution you on football, I don't doubt you've heard the Amish are involved in exotic animal trade, and it is possible, but does it make sense? Okay, the Amish don't tend to work with modern with updated equipment, and you don't put an exotic animal in a wooden cage. They will break out of it. Okay, for the most part. But is it possible? Certainly. I wouldn't hold my breath on it. And rest assured, the Amish aren't exactly as backwoods as many people think. But I would be questioning the source. But again, if you're going to have a pet, just remember you've got to have time for it. And if you're not spending all of your time with a wild animal, that wild animal will certainly imprint on the person raising it. But you got to be careful because they are still a wild animal. That wouldn't be a shock. See, the problem with that is some people they'll pick up a wild animal, an exotic animal, and eventually, they're great as cubs. But when they get too big, you let them loose. Okay, this is kind of like the alligators that get dumped into the New York sewers. Same problem. Buy an alligator because it's really neat to have one. Then you find out just how much they eat. So you cut them loose and let them take out the people. There is a certain amount there. Yeah, a certain amount of logic to that. But I'm a firm believer that wild animals, absolutely leave them in the wild if at all possible. Okay, if you're going to put them in a zoo, make certain you're treating them as wild animals. Okay, there are some animals that you just can't let go into the wild again. Yeah, and that's right, Philip. House cats are undomesticated too, just not big enough to eat people. And that's the whole catch to it. But we are passing the 2 hour. Well, we've actually passed the 2 hour mark here. And with that in mind, guys, I do want to say thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I really do appreciate it. Really appreciate the support. And with that in mind, I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.